People, deluded, I'm back again. Now, Unai Emery has departed this club. The relationship between Arsenal and our former manager has ended. Ljungberg is now the interim manager, gaffer for whatever period he will get. We'll see. Emery's period is over. Now, Emery, it just didn't happen. For me, where if I was Emery, what I would learn, the lesson I would personally learn from this whole period as Arsenal manager, is have principles and stick to them, because the one theme for whatever you say about his tactical decisions, he never looked like he had one decision and stuck to his gun sort of thing. Whether that was the Mesut Ozil thing, he playing Xhaka all the time, they never made Xhaka captain. I don't think he had enough conviction in his own ideas with his tactics. 1 minute he's changing, then he's not. Again, chameleon team, everlasting change, all of these things can do things, but I don't think he honestly died on his own swords. I think he will leave this Arsenal job thinking, what if I did things differently, or listen to that voice in my head a bit more. I do think he really struggled to define himself. One thing I give him credit for is he always acted with class. Apart from, I don't think the Mesut Ozil thing was classy, and it did get a bit nasty in the public. But I did think Emery was relatively classy. I did think he did all right at this role. And obviously, he ultimately failed to command respect from the players and have the players on board and whatnot. And you've heard the young players did it. You're now hearing the senior players were taking a mick out of him and used to ridicule his good evenings and everything. Even ridicule him when he's in earshot and he can hear everything. And for me, regardless of if Emery lost these players or not, if Emery had to go, I think that's fucking disgraceful, pardon my language, people. As much as Emery needed to go and Emery wasn't right, we're meant to be Arsenal Football Club. Granted, we're not Arsenal of previous years, but we criticise Emery tactically for moving away from these values and whatnot. What about morally? These players, regardless of how crap Emery was as manager, these players, like under Wenger and other things, they get to hide. Emery's tactics shackled them. Emery's tactics ultimately disallowed them from really doing their thing. I believe that. But at the same time, there's accountability. Emery, in the same way when we was winning 22 games unbeaten and getting to Europa League finals, it wasn't just Emery. The players got praise. So they have to take the rough with the smooth. And some of these players have to look themselves honestly in the eye, because that's away from Arsenal, whatever. That's just nastiness. That's just disgraceful. You can't treat a man like that. You can't treat a ridiculing man, laughing at man. That's disgraceful. That's bitch boy stuff. I'm pardoning my language. But these players are moving like bitches, and whichever players did it is a fucking disgrace. Regardless of if I believe Emery deserved it or not. Obviously, Emery failed to command respect, so these things are going to happen. Players didn't believe in him from day dot. Emery doesn't strike. I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't believe in Emery either. He's clearly a good manager and tactician, but if I was a player, would I sit there and go, yeah, I want to ride for Emery? No. But he didn't deserve that. We're meant to be Arsenal Football Club. It says more about these players and more about us than it does about Emery, that you're mocking him behind the scenes and you're doing all these things. And I think the players are cheeky, because as much as Emery's been poor, these players need to pull their fingers out. Players need to pull. There's not one player. Again, Emery's tactics is the good thing, but there's not one player truly excelling this season. At a push, you probably say Aubameyang because he's scoring goals, but it's disgraceful. And it's one thing being the kids or the group and the teenagers and whatnot. But when you're hearing experienced players, I'm not saying because I don't know which players were doing it, and it could just be speculation. But we've got players there that have played at World Cups, at African Cup of Nations, been called up, forgive me if I'm wrong, for Euros, played for guys like Ceballos, even though I don't know if it was him, been involved in Real Madrid and Champions League, experienced players that played for their country. You know how hard it is. You know how much pressure a manager faces. You lot know how tough scrutiny is. So treat a man like a human. And the thing is, none of you players are playing amazing to say you're not alone in this. At the end of the day, as stupid as Emery's tactics were, you lot were the ones out there. And I think these players need to look themselves in the eye. Player power is a massive thing, but it's disgraceful. And none of you are playing amazing. None of you are playing amazing. And I feel to do Emery like that, as much as he needed to go, is a disgrace. And some of these players have to look themselves in the eyes, because they're scumbags. That's scummy. That's a waste man thing. You don't do that to people. We don't do that for Arsenal Football Club. We talk about values and passion, and regardless of who someone is, we treat them with respect. What is that? This is what I mean about it's too easy to play for this football club. When people lose, people get to hide behind things. No questions are really asked. People are... Like, you lot are disgraceful, man. Whoever was doing it, you're a disgrace. We'll never know, but you're a disgrace. And you lot these players need to fix up. Because at the end of the day, if you want top four, it's for you. As much as we can talk about managers and things like this, players, there's been some of these players have had 2 different managers. They've shown no significant improvement. And they need to look closer to home. Because it is way too easy to play for this club. And again, regardless of if Emery needed to step down, I've been very vocal about Emery needing to go. But that is a disgrace. You do not treat people like that. And a lot of these players need to to look themselves in the eye and think about what they're doing, because they talk about values and passion and all of these morals. You're letting yourselves down. What does it say about you that you're mocking a man's accent and you're mocking and this and that? Obviously, if he's lost you, innit? But it doesn't sit right with me, man. It doesn't. And regardless of the manager, of the Kroenkes, of all of these guys really stopping Arsenal from excelling, the players have to take responsibility, because you're all gassing it about Arsenal. You're all gassing it, saying you want to play, you want to do this, and more often than not, you all sink. As much as the manager's tactics are out there, you lot are meant to be brothers in arms, and too much of the time, you are divided and you fail to answer the questions that the fans want to see answered positively. The players are disgraceful for that one. Emery needed to go. The players, they need to really look themselves in the eyes, people. And if you don't want to be here, if you carry on with this foolishness, get out of it. Doesn't matter if you're the world-class / top-class players, if there are any in this team. Doesn't matter if you're the young players. If you're going to carry on with this disgraceful sort of rhetoric and behave like this, get out the club, because there's literally millions of people that would have killed to be in your spot, and you're the one that God blessed with the talent, and you're going to waste it being disrespectful. Shut up and get on. Roll your socks up, train hard, and go back and put this season back on track, because regardless of Lumber coming in and what we see from his tactics, regardless of Emery's tactics, the players have to take some responsibility, and there's not one player that could honestly look themselves in that mirror at London Coley or at the Emirates and say, this season I have played to my best, I've done everything I can. They can't. They're a liar. And while we're here, we might as well. Yeah, man. It didn't work out for it didn't work out for Emery, people. But we might as well talk about his final notes. Apparently, I haven't got it up there, people. But apparently, he said goodbye, man. I think I owe it to him to at least read out his notes, people. If I can find it on Arsenal.com, because I've been printing off the wrong things. Just got an Arsenal. Apologies, people. Oh, here we go. It's first thing. And it's also interesting the number of players that have thanked him as well, people. Like, I think trying to make notes. Martinez, who apparently liked an AFTV Unai Emery out video as well once upon a time. Bellerin, Chambers, Holding, Socrates, Tierney, Guendouzi, Ceballos, Saka, Joe, Aubameyang, Laka, and I believe Luiz. Maitland-Niles, Xhaka, Torreira. Apologies if I said Xhaka already. I meant to say Saka. Xhaka, Torreira, Ozil, Nelson, Pepe, Emil Smith-Rowe, Martinelli, Mustafi, Mavropanos, Kolasinac, if I haven't said, are yet to comment. I'm not reading too much into the statements. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything if you did or didn't, really. But it is what it is in that regards. Let's look at Emery, man. This is Emery's notes, people. It has been an honour to be the Arsenal head coach. To all the fans, I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for helping me to understand and feel the greatness of Arsenal. To all of you who have supported us from every corner of the globe, all of you who have come to the Emirates, all of you who have waited in the rain and cold just to greet me after a game, I wanted to tell all of you that I've worked with passion, with commitment and effort. Like, Emery, I might not agree with your tactics, how you've gone about things, how you've managed players, but one thing, I can't question your integrity. I've never questioned if you wanted to do well at Arsenal. That's one thing I'll give it to him. The man tried his best, it didn't work out. Emery, we all sat there and gave you time. This is the nature of the business. You're not doing it, you need to go. And that's what it is with Emery. But he's always handled himself, apart from, I feel, with Mesut Ozil and a couple things in public, with class. He's never behaved in a certain way, and I've never had to question in his own warped little way if he wanted the best for Arsenal. So I'll give him credit for that. And you can leave with your head held high. It's a bittersweet. You got to experience the Premier League. At the end of the day, you could say I've been here 2 seasons. I missed out in my first full season. I got to the Europa League final and missed out by a point. We all know there's more to that story, but again, he could harp on about that. This season was poor. You've experienced the Premier League. I think he'll get another decent job. To be honest, I don't know if his stock's fallen that much, but Everton's situation, how Marco Silva has lasted longer than Pochettino and Emery, I don't know. That could be a situation for him. Rodgers, apparently, it's going to cost 14 million to come to Arsenal, so he's not coming, because why would you leave Leicester? But if he left Leicester, would Emery go to Leicester? Could Leicester be one for him? Now, considering the fact that Leicester have won a Premier League title and how they're playing, saying that I wouldn't go for Emery if I'm Leicester, because he's the furthest thing from how they've been playing. But my point is, I think he'll get another role, whether that's in the Premier League, probably not, potentially back in Spain. But he's managed in France, he's managed in Russia, he's managed in England. Maybe it's a German thing. Who knows what his plans are? He looks like Emery never really adapted to life at Arsenal, people. You're hearing things like at any given opportunity, he went back to Spain, which is nothing wrong with that. For me, I saw a segment that he really failed to get people on side behind the scenes, the dinner ladies, the kit men, you know, them people there that Ferguson and Wenger and other people go beyond to make sure you know their names and stuff. You've got to get them on side. He failed to do that, and I think I've got some other things there, people. He said, like I said, man, he said it's been an honour. I would have liked nothing more than to have achieved better results for you. I also want to send a message of gratitude to all Arsenal employees for the way they have treated me. The greatness of Arsenal is in every director, every executive, every employee, every assistant and every volunteer. In particular, I want to highlight Ivan Gazidis, who welcomed me to the club. Dead that, my guy. That's the one thing I'm gonna disagree with. Anything Ivan Gazidis gets spun. He said he welcomed me to the club. Raul Sanye, Edu and Vinay. For their respect, companionship and help. Until the very last minute, I've been treated with honour and honesty, and of course I send my sincere gratitude to the Kroenke family for their trust. Apparently he doesn't see eye to eye with Edu. That's what I've seen online. Now I don't know if this is journalists inventing their nonsense and carrying on, but you get my point. And he said, it's been a year and a half full of emotions, of great ones and of some more bitter ones. But not a single day has gone by without me stopping to think about how lucky I've been to work for this club with these players and their professional and personal qualities. They've always honoured the shirt they wear. They deserve your support. I had already experienced a lot in football, but I've enjoyed and learned a lot in England, in the Premier League, about respect for professionals and about the purity of football. My best wishes. Come on, you Gooners. Now, thank you very much for that, Emery. Like I said, he's handled it with dignity, people. What more can you say from it, people? Really and truly. Like I said, he did his thing. But some other notes that I wanted to speak to you about. It was always the beginning of the end, because apparently Emery made little time to get to know long-lasting staff at the Emirates. 6 months into his job, Emery conducted an interview at the club media day and thanked his translator at the end by calling him the wrong name. These are the sort of things that creates discontent and why people potentially, they might be sad that he's gone, but won't necessarily miss him. As we know, for me, Emery, why it didn't go well for Emery is because he ultimately promised too much. He promised protagonists. I want to win 5-4 more than 1-0. But he's shown the complete opposite. Whether he believes in these players defensively, whether he couldn't coach them, whether he was ineffective in communicating what he wanted, I don't know. Only Emery can tell you when the time comes in, and he offers his own segment into why this didn't go right. But he ultimately age-old error, over-promising and failing to deliver. Did you get it, people? People talk too much and fail to deliver. And he really, again, I think there's been too much voices in his ear where he keeps second-guessing himself, because it's not healthy to consistently change things 1 week. He's never really understood his best 11 or understood what he wanted to do with this team from the day dot, people. And also, apparently, people, on top of that, Emery's judgment was questioned by the club's hierarchy after he pushed for a signing of Denis Suarez. So on top of the football, top of how he's managing relations, question marks already being built. And that division probably happened a long time ago, because for all these concerns, certain members of the boardroom wanted to give him a new deal, which was undeserved. This is all coming from James Ollier, a journalist, people, as well, so don't shoot the messenger. Apparently, one Arsenal player admitted privately that he had more communication via text with an ex-manager than he did with Emery. Now, let's not assume that means Wenger. You've got Luiz, who's there, who could have been, well, maybe not Lampard, but someone else. You've got Pepe, could have been speaking to his Lille boss. Do you get it, people? Do you see what I'm saying? Technically, Ljungberg is an ex-manager of Saka, and that from last year in the 23s, that could be him. I'm not speculating. I'm not saying these are these players. I'm just offering sound bites, people. Apparently, the same guy said training ground sources speak of meetings with Emery taking much longer than usual due to confusion over the message he is trying to convey, people, which is a bit mad. I also saw a statement, people, how I can't remember. Let me try and find it. Apparently, Emery asked for I can't remember, but he just made a commitment to bang on about the word communication as a sort of buzzword, people, sort of thing. Oh, here it is. in his early days, Emery asked the kitman in the dressing room about what the ground was like, what the atmosphere was, and what was needed. Apparently, the reply was character. Then Emery said, "That's a good word," and he said, "I'll use that." Emery's team talk was all about character, and he thanked Steve. Unfortunately, the kitman's name is Paul, and the whole dressing room ended up laughing. Emery had shared the dressing room with staff for 11 months and still did not know all the names. And I mean, the team isn't just the 26 players, people. It's not just Emery and the 26 players and his coaching staff. It's obviously his coaching staff that he brought. It's the nutritionist. It's the logistics man. It's the people that help coordinate which players are going for interviews and that. It's the people, the chefs and that. That's a team. And if you don't it's in life, in any organisation, if you do not make people feel valued, they're not gonna. Did you see what happens? People will. Do you know why? It's not nothing amazing, but think about it. If I worked at Arsenal, someone like Wenger or Emery remembered my name, it might not be nothing to them, but I'm gonna feel valued as a person. The first step to letting someone know in business and in life that you don't respect them is getting their name wrong. We all got given a name. Our name is all we've got in essence. We're all given our name, people. Our name is our name. Some of our names our parents gave to us with deeper meanings. That tells you, if someone gets your name wrong, obviously things happen, but if someone consistently doesn't remember your name or gets them wrong, it might seem like nothing to you, but that would tell me or someone that you don't value me, you don't respect me. And these things are going to trickle down. We need everybody on the same page. Of course, I'm not saying because you got the kit man's name wrong is why you got fired, but you get the point. These are the sort of things. You're coming to a club. On top of what you need to identify with defending and all the issues on the field, you need to immerse yourself. Football's moved away from Ferguson and Wenger and things like that. But these are the sort of things you have to do. And he failed to do that. And you're getting a man's name wrong, and you're just making yourself look like a joke, man. Even more people. If you shared a room with 11 months with people you don't know their names, it's ridiculous. And when you add on the players acting disgraceful, carrying on with how they were moving people, with how you hear how they mocked Emery and whatnot, then it's not exactly plain sailing, people, really and truly. It just doesn't fill you with any sort of pride. There's really not much more to say on that front, though, man. So I'm gonna get out of here, people. Really, Emery really just, it is what it is in relation to Emery, man. Yeah, man. Like I said, man, it is what it is. People, DG, I'm out.